Energy Catalyst has been transformational for UPI over the past number of years.
What inspires me is the fact that we're solving a real problem.
Our Energy Catalyst programme, we wouldn't have been in this region. We could never have funded a project like this.
It's the ability to create a reputational benefit of knowing that you've had funding from such a great partner as Innovate UK.
So we had the idea, but we were not in a position to be able to set up a project on this scale.
First of all, thanks for all your help and support.
We've come from far and we can see the future.
In the future, this biogas will change our lives. That's our hope.
You can say we are sponsoring the community, we are giving them a good future and a bright future.
Thank you. Back to the agenda. Good morning, everyone, again. I'd welcome everyone earlier. My name is Joshua Adedeji, and I'm the Knowledge Transfer Manager for Innovate UK KTN in Nigeria. I'm actually based in Lagos, but of course, I will be coming to Abuja and other states often just to interact with our key partners and other actors. I would like us to start now while we wait for other participants. I hope we can have all the participants today. We're expecting about 50 persons in the room today, and I think that will really help us to interact. Just a very quick house rule. We have, I believe we have 2 exits in this, all to your back, right and left. We're all safe. It's a very good hotel, I must say, and we're all safe. Or in case you need to go out, or in case the fire alarm is on, so just find your way through either of the exits out. And if you want to use the washroom, to your left, so you go all the way, that's where you can actually go to. I hope that's okay. I'm not a security expert, so I won't be able to give advice beyond that, but I believe we're all good. Yeah, so our agenda for today, it's actually, so we're going to be having a mix of presenters live right here, and of course we have some other colleagues in the UK who are going to be joining us also to interact. And like you know, we are having a hybrid session, not just everyone here. Online currently we have a couple of persons who are online. So this event is aimed at doing 2 things. One, that you expect is the collaboration and the networking aspect, because we actually want to bring all actors, maybe not all, important actors in the energy sector together to interact, to collaborate, and see what we can achieve together. And the other thing is to actually launch, which has been launched actually, but to bring the information to you about the round 9 of the Energy Catalyst. And of course, we have some of the previous round winners in the room who are going to be speaking to us on what it looks like, what project they're working on, and how it has been all the way. And of course, I know all of us, we are looking forward, to applying for the round 9 of the Energy Catalyst. All right, so this is our agenda today. This is welcome and introduction that I'm doing, and of course, one of my colleagues is going to join as well. And after that, we will have a quick tea break, just for you to get to know other people who are here with you. So that will take 10 minutes. You just want to do get a tea, and of course, make some quick networking. And then we're going to have, before we go on break, we have the CEO of the Nigerian Climate Innovation Center also just give a goodwill message, welcoming everyone just with me as well. After we go on tea break, then we have the keynote speech, by the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency. We're expecting him to join us very quickly, after which we move into the Energy Catalyst overview. It's going to be like a pre-recorded video from one of our team lead in the UK explaining what this is about and what you should expect. After which we have some question and answer, if you maybe have a question about what has been presented. But then we'll move straight into case study presentation. We might actually move the agenda a bit. I have one because I know Dave is looking at me. Josh, all this that you're saying, would I leave here, before 1? So hopefully we could have Dave, present before his time because he has a flight to catch, but he's sitting right here. I'm going to introduce them later. And we are going to look into what does a successful application look like, especially for those who are interested in applying. And of course, how to use the B2Match, where you can actually find an administrative partner, a UK partner, and all of that. First question and answer, and then we have the final thing, which is to network. And this will be done over lunch. I hope that's okay. If you agree, say it's okay. All right, thanks everyone. Okay, at this time, I would actually want to welcome my colleague, Sophie, as she's going to be joining online, just to introduce the Innovate UK KTN, and of course the work of Global Alliance Africa in Nigeria, in Kenya, and in South Africa. Sophie, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here if you can hear.
Sure, we can hear you.
Perfect, wonderful. So firstly, thank you everyone for joining the event today. I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person. I would have loved to attend. And I just thought it would be helpful for us just to give a quick overview as who we are as Innovate UK KTN and the project. Joshua, is it just possible to confirm the slides are being shown?
Slide.
We can't see them on the online version.
Okay, now you have the slide on.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you, Joshua. So yeah, as I said, a quick overview of who we are in the UK KTN. So we are the networking partner of the UK's Innovation Agency. And Joshua, if you're happy to move to the next slide, our core mandate is really to drive positive change and create diverse connections through innovation collaborations. We look to really collaborate globally to connect to valuable international connections for innovators. And we look to extend our activity beyond what we do to deliver economic prosperity, societal benefit and environmental benefit as well. And we deliver this through 3 core pillars of deep expertise, which I'll come on to in the next slide, building powerful connections and future shaping. On the next slide, you'll see a diagram. So we are approximately 250 individuals who form Innovate UK KTN. We have deep sector expertise across the majority of priority sectors, so from agriculture to energy to transport to manufacturing, creative industries, and work both in the UK but then internationally as well. On the next slide, you'll see that our network is approximately 46,000 unique organisations. Approximately 72% of those organisations are classified as small organisations. Within our networks, both in the UK and globally, we have approximately 230,000 innovators who we work closely with. And to give an example, through an initiative called Knowledge Transfer Partnerships, we have a presence in every university in the UK, and now several universities actually through an initiative in Nigeria as well. On the next slide, we'll highlight some of our impact statements that we have as an organisation. So in an independent assessment a number of years ago, it was found that 66 partnerships that were introduced by KTN go on to collaborate together. That means that actually 42% of people interviewed say that actually they reach their outcomes 1 to 2 years faster than without KTN support. We promote increased investment in R&D through our engagement, which we believe equates to about £100 million a year of increased investment in R&D in the UK. But as highlighted in the introduction, it isn't just the UK in which we're working. And on the next slide, you'll see a little bit more information about the project under which this event today is being hosted. So this is the UK's Global Alliance Africa project. So this is a co-investment between the UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, the FCGO, and the UK's Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy BASE. And it's a 6-year programme. You may all possibly have remembered the visit to Nigeria from our previous Prime Minister, Theresa May. I think she was well known for her dancing on the trip, but actually the purpose of the trip was to announce more of a focus around entrepreneurship, technology, innovation and science, looking at how we can build UK-Nigerian innovation partnerships through that. So as a project, we're a 6-year project. We're 2 years into the project now. And on the next slide, you'll see some of the core interventions that we are delivering as a project. And again, feel free to contact myself or Joshua or Tara as well on the call to learn a little bit more. But activities are focused around open innovation, where we're connecting a large challenge holder and large business with new solution providers, ideally cross-sectoral as well, who are outside of their normal supply chains. Place-based innovation, so really looking at supporting secondary cities and states to build stronger local innovation ecosystems, access to funding, for which today's event falls under, and then work towards promoting the innovation investment pipeline. And then as well, because of the higher or the longer term objectives of the programme is really about strengthening UK-Nigeria innovation partnerships. We're also delivering global innovation networks in which we're hoping to connect sectoral groups in the UK and in Nigeria. And so I hope that gives a really whistle-stop tour of our project as a whole. Again, if you have any questions, I'll put my email address in the chat for the participants who are joining virtually, and I'm sure Joshua will be able to, more than happy to answer any questions that there are in the room today. But once again, thank you for your time today at today's event. I really hope it's an interesting and insightful event as to the Energy Catalyst funding that has been announced. And I think with that, Joshua, I'll hand back to you.
Right. Thanks, Sophie. That's actually a very beautiful presentation. Thanks for joining from UK. If you have any question about the presentation, and of course about our work in the country, please feel free to reach out to me. That might not be particular to Energy Catalyst, perhaps around what Global Alliance Africa is doing, which we're actually delivering these activities today. So we have work around place-based innovation, open innovation, and a couple of other things. But these all aim at supporting and, of course, bringing on new innovation, with collaboration from the UK partners. So feel free to reach out. I was having a conversation earlier around, agri sector, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic. We're interested in that. So if that's what you are doing or other partners, feel free to reach out. And of course, today, what we're going to be focusing on is on the Energy Catalyst. And I know we have all the right actors in the room. And one key thing that brings us together is to end what? Energy poverty. We know what it is in the country, how energy access is actually big issue. But of course, with you, with me, and with everyone, we could come together, looking at what ways, we can actually solve this. We have some of the support, in terms of, funding from Energy Catalyst, which we are looking at, jumpstarting or catalyzing new innovations in our technology in energy, access. But of course, this will not be possible without you and of course other relevant actors, and that's why we are here today. Before we go on a very short break, I would like to call on Bankole Oloruntoba, the CEO of Nigerian Climate Innovation Center. So he would come to give a goodwill, message, welcoming everyone, and of course also alluding to why it is important and the reason why we're here today. Bankole, you're welcome. I actually brought him all the way from Lagos.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. It's always good to come back home to Abuja. My name is Bankole Oloruntoba, and I'm the CEO of the Nigeria Climate Innovation Center. The Climate Innovation Center was a setup of the World Bank and the office of the Vice President here in Nigeria, but runs on an autonomous model. We're here today to also support our friends at KTN. to engage with the ecosystem. If there's something we know that can help with the emergence of a green economy in Nigeria, we think that partnership is really very key. And in driving partnership, finance, we say, is the bedrock of anything impact or sustainability. Energy is a very huge gap. The market is still very wide. I'm happy to see a good representation from REA, which I always say, even though with an unproven fact, that REA must have contributed to at least 30 to 40% increase in the use of renewable energy in Nigeria. And we're really proud of the work that they do. And we see also the different types of, the different calibers of private sector players, from small scale, mid scale, also to large scale. We see also that there's a huge opportunity around infrastructure. We think that business model is also very key in helping us create some form of pricing and revenue model around renewable energy services in Nigeria. We're very happy to be here. We have been following up with KTN ever since I smelt KTN into Africa. We think that there's a huge possibility that can work here. And we also want to ask the ecosystem, starting with Abuja, even though my friends in Lagos are really angry with me and asking me, why is it in Abuja, why not in Lagos? We think that there's a whole lot of opportunity so that we don't have a skewed engagement into the market. We know that Lagos is sort of like the finance capital of the nation, but we also understand that the political will of Nigeria rests here in this city. And you cannot build an ecosystem of partnerships without engaging with both. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Please consider all the different offerings that KTN has got. Many of these conversations, can lead into something fantastic. We have seen the handwork of KTN across Africa, and we believe that, with the necessary engagements and partnerships, we can also create a dedicated financing framework for energy projects in Nigeria. Thank you so much. And I'm also sitting at the back. I hope to engage quite a number of you. Cheers.
That's beautiful. Thanks so much. And it's not only here to speak, but one of the reasons why it's also here is to see, for those who might want to explore, collaboration with the Nigerian Climate Innovation Center, and of course, in terms of the work they do, please feel free to connect with him during break. And like you said, it's really interesting to have this event in Abuja, even though we have quite a number of persons, joining online from Lagos and from the UK, just trying to listen to, what we're having today. One thing we have here in Abuja is a mix of, key actors from the policy side, the developers, and other relevant actors. And I think it's really interesting, especially when we're having this conversation like this. There's a need to bring policy actors together so that we can have, I can say the government backing, and of course, every important person seated here this morning. So at this time, we'll go on a quick break for 10 minutes. It's not a break just to have tea. It's a break to connect with the person sitting next to you. Feel free to grab the hand of the person sitting next to you. And I will see you right here in 10 minutes. We don't want to take so much of your time. As we're coming back, we're going to be having a keynote speech from the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency, who is going to be joining us shortly. And of course, we have interesting, presentation from other previous winners of previous rounds, actually, so we can learn from them. Then we move straight into talking about, this funding round, the 9 funding round, and of course, for those who might be interested in applying, you have you have the opportunity to ask your question. All right, thank you. For those who are online, do the same. We're going to have the light music playing, so you can just stay around, or you can also walk around to grab a cup of tea, where you're sitting. All right, thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, sorry, we have tea and snacks right at the back, so you can use either of the exits, to access that. Please, let's do that very quickly. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good break. Can I get a response? Do you have a good break? Yeah, and I hope people online had the same good time. Maybe a quick question to everyone, not putting you on the spot, but if you could tell me maybe the name of one person you met and what kind of partnership, or perhaps if you discuss any, if you explore any partnership, between your organization and theirs, Who want to go for that? I mean, quick opportunity to stand with me here for 1 minute. Yeah, please come. Thank you. Yeah, you have the floor.
Hi, my name is Taiwo. I met Dave, and they're based in Lagos, and looking forward to his presentation today.
Oh, okay. Dave, I mean, you never can tell. She might have like millions of dollars to give. So that'll be an interesting one. All right, thank you. I mean, that's a good one. Thanks so much. I hope it's the same way for everyone. It's my pleasure to actually welcome the MD, joining us from Rural Electrification Agency, and I'll be bringing him up shortly. Just waiting for every other person to get on their seats so that we can, start after the break. So like I said earlier, I'd mentioned that we are all here. One thing is brought us together here this morning, and of course, it's for us all to work, together, creating more access, for energy in Nigeria. And of course, some of us work beyond Nigeria. So wherever you work, I mean, we are still achieving the same thing, and that's the message we are preaching this morning, especially through the Energy Catalyst event this morning. It's my pleasure to bring up the MD of Rural Electrification Agency. I wish I have his profile all here, but I might not introduce him better than himself, so I'll allow him to, to do that. That's Engineer Ahmed, Salihu Ahmed. So he will be giving the keynote speech this morning. Please welcome Engineer with me this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure I'm going to do much of an elaborate introduction as he has stated, but my name is Engineer Ahmed Salihu, the Managing Director of the Rural Electrification Agency. I'm quite honored to be with you here today at this vital launch and brokerage event. I recall when you reached out to me, it immediately sounded like a fantastic idea, and I'm very happy to see that we were able to move on it fairly quickly, because usually when you have this sort of arrangements, what you find is that the fact that we were able to move very, very timely on it is very, very commendable and shows the level of commitment we have across the room. And also, looking around when I was coming in, it's also very encouraging to see the great mix of people in the room and the quality of stakeholders present here today. I'm very confident that this will be an engaging and a very productive brokerage event, which for us at the REA, being a facilitator for this sort of engagements, makes us very, very happy. As I said earlier, I would like to commend the Innovate UK team for putting together this learning and collaborative event. I would like to also use the opportunity to commend and appreciate the UK government for their continuous support on these knowledge-driven and impactful engagements. The UK government, through FCDO, has been a great partner for the REA with the work that we have done with the recently concluded A-staff. And I think this aspect of the work continues to be critical. While we engage with other stakeholders, we do realize that it's very, very important to continue to engage with developers, given that the government has taken a very deliberate step to have a private sector-driven initiative through the Nigerian Electrification Project, the Rural Electrification Fund, and the Solar Power Niger program. So these engagements in this energy ecosystem has been greatly improved in the last couple of years, with key stakeholders in the sector deliberately collaborating for a common cause. I know that part of the time, or most of the time, government is always being looked at as the people to prefer solutions to all problems, even things that don't concern us, but I'm very happy that this business of closing the energy gap and preferring the solutions that we need in our everyday problems within the sector. It's a collaborative effort between ourselves, other stakeholders, private sector, and development partners. So every country, and Nigeria is not an exception, has its peculiar energy access challenges. In a country with a very large unelectrified population like ours, efforts are targeted at closing the energy gap across the nation while improving the socio-economic status of communities through the stimulation of productive use. I've always joked with stakeholders when we meet at this sort of sessions, even internationally. Nigeria's problems in terms of on-electrification is quite different from what other countries are facing. So it forces us to be, we have to be very innovative in how we try to solve these problems, because the sheer population that we have, in the country is very, very, we have to be very wary of it. I've seen efforts being done in other countries, which of course continues to be very, very commendable. But I think in terms of how you scale up in Nigeria is what makes it a very, very big challenge. And I'm happy that we have some very good brains in the room that can continue to help and guide us achieve those targets. So the federal government, through the Rural Electrification Agency, we have continued to implement the nation's off-grid programs, providing access to reliable electric power supply for rural dwellers, irrespective of where they live and what they do. In a way, that would allow a reasonable return on investment in the development of these rural areas and the lives of people. So you would definitely agree with me that three very important indices needed for this accelerated impact in the energy sector in Nigeria and across the world: the quality of technical expertise, funding, as well as an investor-friendly environment with the right policy in place. So I think this is why I mentioned some programs we have been working on at the Rural Electrification Agency, including the Nigerian Electrification Project, the Rural Electrification Fund, Solar Power Niger program, and the recently launched Energizing Agriculture program in partnership with RMI, Rockefeller Foundation, and GIAP. So we have used these opportunities to continue to improve and expand opportunities for the private sector, particularly for the energizing agriculture, for instance. There is a very key responsibility there to ensure that we look beyond providing electricity, but the productive use of electricity would give us a good opportunity to use that particular program for us to demonstrate that. In addition to that, we're also working on the Energizing Economies program, which is purely a private sector driven program. And what government does in that particular program is to provide the enabling environment, including understanding the demand for power within those economic clusters and partnering with private sector developers to give them energy as a service. So as you can see, connecting both public and private sector players in the technical, financial, and collaborative and partnership opportunities targeted at real impact is a cause that we must constantly drive. I've had in the past couple of weeks a high-level meeting with the leadership of the World Bank, for instance, and they continue to show us this kind of commitment, especially in the off-grid space, where it has become very clear that for Nigeria to be able to close up this gap, we need these initiatives to be scaled up very, very fast. So this particular brokerage event by Innovate UK is therefore very, very timely and very commendable, as it is designed to connect key players in the ecosystem to opportunities both locally and globally. I must use this to also commend our local developers. I can see a few of them in the room who have really taken the bull by the horn to see how they can provide that sort of impact. I know some of them have more or less even spent maybe their personal monies to even ensure that some of these programs have been rolled out. As you can see, it's a very new space for all of us. We're all continuing to learn, so I must use this opportunity to encourage our local developers to continue to push and work with government to see how we can achieve our own electrification targets. So I see the Energy Catalyst program by Innovate UK as another promising program designed to catalyze this sort of opportunities in the sector. And so far, in terms of the work that I've seen from them, I'm very confident that with the quality of presentations, as well as the interactions here today, this event will definitely serve as another valuable launchpad for accelerated impact in the sector. So I urge you all to make this session very productive, interactive, and engaging, and also be as open as we can with ourselves. Typically, we have this sort of workshops or this sort of interactions, and we don't set ourselves realistic targets because we are not being open and honest with each other. So I think it's very, very important for us to bring the challenges to the table and see how this partnership can help us overcome those challenges. So I'm looking forward to the outcomes of this workshop to see how many of these partnerships we can bring to fruition in a very, very, very short time so that we can continue to implement. So once more, thank you very much for coming, and I look forward to the deliberations. Thank you.
That's an interesting one, and I felt we're just starting over again. This hour we should have started it because it provided us with insight into what is obtainable currently in the ecosystem, and of course how we all need to work together. And like he has said, it's not the job of one person, but the job of every one of us in the room this morning. And one key output we're looking forward to, like he said, is actually what kind of collaboration is coming out of this event. So we are not only going to be speaking about the funding, but we're looking at what other means, can we collaborate, beyond this? What are the works that are currently going on? And one other thing that I would like to mention is our commitment, to also keep having this kind of conversation. We hope to, work with Ari here. I actually would like to appreciate the engineer because when we spoke with him over call, I was so receptive, and over one call, we put all this together, in partnership with RE here, and everyone was all out, sending email, inviting people, because like I said, I'm not based here, so I might not have the power to bring all the developers and everyone in the house today together, but thanks to your agency, sir, for helping us with this. So we are going to be moving to the next thing. We're supposed to move straight into the overview of the Energy Catalyst with like a video I'm going to play. But because Dave needs to catch a flight very quickly, I think it would be great to hear from Dave. Dave and his organization, they're actually part of the winner of the previous round of funding. And I think that's one key interesting thing for all of us who are here today. We want to know, how can we apply? How can we get the right partner? How can we get a UK partner? What kind of project, is eligible? I think this is the right time to hear about that. I'm still going to be presenting about the eligibility, but that's just presented from a PowerPoint. I've not been, I'm not an implementer, so I'm not implementing any project on the field, but I think it's really going to be great to hear from David what it has been, how they've implemented their project, and what stage they are currently. So Dave, I think it's good to have you now so that you don't miss your flight. You're welcome, Dave.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for making our time to be part of this presentation. I must appreciate all the dignitaries that are here in the room, Let me start with the CEO of Rural Electrification Agency, Engineer Ahmed. Thank you for coming and thank you for your presentation. And also thanking all the CEOs and dignitaries representing different organizations here. You are highly welcome. I appreciate your presence. I want to use this special opportunity to also thank Innovate UK for making it possible for my organization to be put on the map of organizations that are pushing green energy all over the world. Without Innovate UK, probably I won't be here addressing this gathering. So Innovate UK made it possible for us to participate in the Energy Catalyst Round 8 event with our collaborating UK partners, namely APC Group, University of Wolverhampton, and DZP Technologies. We all came together to form a consortium and we went in for the Energy Catalyst program, and fortunately we were successful. We secured a £1 million grant to develop a sodium ion-based battery technology for portable solar generator to service the sub-Saharan African market. Of course, Nigeria has been chosen as the test bed for the pilot scheme of that program, which we are currently working on the research and development, as well as the commercialization side of it. So thank you, Innovate UK, thank you, UK Aid, and thank you, the UK government, for making this happen. With that, I want to go into my presentation for the day. So basically, I'll be talking about Neverdic Limited as a company. I'll also be talking about APC Group. So APC Group is the leading innovative and company, the UK company, who has provided us with the backbone to partner in order to bring portable solar generator solution to Africa. APC Group was a successful winner of a UK grant sometime in 2012 with their innovative portable system. As you can see me carrying it there. So this particular system is called Solar SDS. It won an award from the UK government in 2012. Recently, we also rode on the success of this particular technology to win the £1 million grant we secured from the Innovate UK and the UK government. Right now, what we are doing is that we are now developing, this currently uses lead acid battery, but we are now developing this to start using sodium ion battery technology. As you may know, sodium ion is really not a new technology. It used to be there, but not much attention was given to it by the world. But recently, the world has come to realize that due to the challenges being faced by the lithium-ion supply chain in making lithium-ion batteries, the crisis in Democratic Republic of Congo as it relates to mining of cobalt, which is one of the key ingredients in making lithium-ion batteries, the tightness of the supply chain in supplying the raw materials to make lithium-ion batteries. The world has realized that it has become necessary to start looking for substitute and alternative. And that substitute we have seen in sodium-ion battery technology solution. One might rightly ask, so why sodium-ion battery over lithium-ion? So sodium-ion is, the raw material to make sodium-ion battery is abundant, is pretty much table salt, universally available, is lower in terms of cost compared to lithium-ion. Most of the reserves of lithium-ion ores are concentrated in specific regions of the world, whereas sodium is abundantly available. So that makes sourcing very easy, supply chain easier, and the cost lower. Again, you can transport sodium-ion batteries even by air at 0 volt, unlike when you are you want to air freight lithium-ion batteries. There's usually international restrictions that go with that. But with sodium-ion, you can discharge them to 0 volts and transport them to anywhere in the world. Sodium-ion too has comparable energy and power density with lithium-ion batteries. In terms of cost, it's definitely cheaper than lithium-ion, and the cost is also very comparative to lead-acid batteries. So it's a very good competing substitute for lead-acid batteries, which currently majority of Nigerians use due to cost considerations. But don't forget that lead-acid batteries are highly environmentally degrading. So, which is why we are developing this with our UK partners in the UK. And very soon, Nigeria will be one of the primary beneficiaries of this innovation. So let's talk a bit about Asion Group. So Asion Group is a battery manufacturing company that has been in existence for over 30 years, making battery packs in the UK. They are very knowledgeable in what they do. They are very experienced, and their track records have shown that it's a company to reckon with. So Nevadik Limited, being their Nigerian partner, is proud and happy to be associated with them. And they have added so much value to the operations of Nevadik Limited in Nigeria. We all work together, and we are seeing the result. Okay, so we launched the solar SDS in Nigeria sometime last year in a grand style. HMS Trent was a UK vessel, Navy patrol vessel that came to Nigeria. So in collaboration with the UK government, we were able to come on board that vessel to launch the solar SDS, and also to launch the fact that Innovate UK is supporting us in developing the next generation technology as it relates to portable solar generators using sodium-ion battery. So that's me and my colleague on the vessel. So you can see, you can move from the first picture is where you have the solar SDS, but now we are currently developing a newer version called PES, so that's like portable energy storage, which is also mainly for rural electrification and also for low-income earners. So the target is to, I was glad when I heard the CEO of REA, Engineer Ahmed, talk about productive use of energy or power. So it's not just for us to generate power, for them to just power their light bulbs or play music or charge their phones. No, you need to be able to give them a power solution that can enable them run their small-scale businesses, barbing salons, ice block making and selling, hairstyling. These are some of the things that if you empower the rural and the low-income communities, it can actually make life worth living and improve their standard of living. So we had the foresight that this is going to be integral towards generating energy assets in Africa, which is why Asion and Nevadik, we are focusing on the portable energy storage solar generator. So as you can see, we are already on this PES. So the beautiful thing about PES is that the battery management system will be such that it can use both sodium-ion batteries, it can also entertain lithium-ion batteries, and even second life EV batteries that are also based on lithium, and also lead-acid batteries. So the battery management system, the algorithm for that is such that it can enable different battery chemistries to be used in the technology in order for us to make it very versatile, for different people and for different chemistries to be used in it. So these are just pictures of our launch, Nevadik Asion collaboration on board HMS Trent in Lagos sometime in October last year. So like I mentioned, Asion PES has a different product ranges. So we are looking at 1 kilowatt system. We are currently developing 1 kilowatt system, 2 kilowatt system, and also we're also developing trailer-based PES that can that will be up to 3 kilowatts and 5 kilowatts, mainly for the productive use side of things, and also for small-scale, mini-grid clusters. Because you can see some people, like all these barbing salons, people use phone charging as a commercial venture, So these are the things that if they have, they can co-locate and share and make it easier for them to have access to energy at cheaper prices. Of course, one great thing I must highlight here is the fact that Nevadik is leveraging on the manufacturing and technology prowess of Asion Group in order to bring manufacturing into Nigeria. You can agree with me that today you can count up to 2 or 3 companies that make batteries in Nigeria. Correct me if I'm wrong. The ones that have tried have folded up. The new ones are trying to come on board. Some are hopefully at the end stages. But with our partnership, we are working to make battery manufacture, not just assembly, the actual manufacturing of batteries in Nigeria a reality, be it lithium-ion batteries, be it sodium-ion batteries. Our collaboration with the Asion Group and the Innovate UK is going to make this a reality. We are at advanced stage of conversations around that, and we are hoping and looking towards pulling in REA to be part of what we do. If you look at the previous slides, you can see some of the organizations we flashed there. there was no REA logo there. It is our expectation and dream that REA logo will start featuring in that collaborative effort sooner than later. So, Engineer Ahmed, this is a direct appeal and call to you to see how well you can support our venture in Nigeria using your good office. So further down, we have also realized that we have to cater for different market segments. So it's not just the low-income earners or the low power requirements. There's also very huge gap in terms of mini-grid solutions, power solutions, as well as utility scale. So we have also ramped up our capacity. ACON has also ramped up her capacity, and of course, which is what Nevadich Limited is going to be leveraging on, to also service the mini-grid commercial utility scale projects. So our new solutions range from 50 kilowatt, 71 kilowatt hour battery energy storage solution to as much as 1 megawatt power generation capacity and 1 megawatt hour energy storage solution. All these are readily available if you need them for your projects, for your mini-grid projects, for your commercial and utility scale projects. We are the right partner of choice, the one-stop shop that you need to make your projects a reality. And these are all based on UK, made in UK technology, of which we are also working to do technology transfer to Nigeria through using Nevadich as a vehicle to make this happen. Our partners are open and willing to see this materialize. So we are happy and proud of that. So moving on, this is, I think Nigeria will be interested in this particular solution because with this, it can support your projects in Nigeria, especially when it comes to off-grid solutions. So this is in such a way that you can use them outdoors, because one of the challenges of some power solutions is that most times they are not designed to be used outdoors. But because we've understood the weather conditions of Nigeria, the extreme weather conditions in certain parts of the country, the level of dust that you have in certain part of the country, we have designed some of these solutions to be fit for purpose for the environment upon which is being required. So this is a solution, our ACON Flex ESS Micro will make that solution readily available. Right, yeah, so moving on, there's an interesting solution we're also looking at, which is using second life electric vehicle batteries for power storage. You can agree with me that most times when these batteries that you use in electric vehicles, when they get to a certain level, they become unusable or unsuitable for their application in electric vehicles. But the interesting thing is that they still have some life remaining in them that could be useful in stationary power storage solutions. So what ACON Nevadich partnership is doing is to see how we can bring in, pull out these used EV batteries and convert them to stationary power storage. That is already ongoing, and that's what you can see in these casements. You can see these are already used EV batteries that we are reconverting and repurposing into second life power generation stationary storage. And it's been a success story. And with that, we are going into the Energy Catalyst 9 competition with this particular concept. Having been successful at round 8, we are confident that we have an innovation that we can share with the world that can make us look good as regarding competing for the Energy Catalyst 9 program. So I invite you to come on board Energy Catalyst 9 because it's quite interesting. At that level, you meet interesting partners and collaborators that will be happy to work with you, UK-based, internationally based companies that you can partner with to make it a success. Okay, so yeah, so this is just to give you like an idea of what we are currently doing with the funding that we have received from Innovate UK. Because our project is a 2-year project, which also involves, apart from the R&D leg, which is ongoing in the laboratories and in the workshops, there is also a community outreach leg, community engagement leg, which we are currently doing in Nigeria. We've earmarked about 7 states in the country, comprising 52 communities that we are engaging in order to bring these portable power solutions and other low-income, low-cost solutions to them. So far, we are currently on that mission, and the map here shows you the communities that have been outlined for this particular project. We've covered about 2 or 3 states out of the 7 already, so we are deeply penetrating, and we are reaching out, and we are getting hard facts, hard data on what the issues are, their power requirements, what their energy and power requirements is, and with that, we are feeding it into the research, the R&D work we are doing to come up with fit-for-purpose solutions that will be pocket-friendly for them and meet their requirements. All right, so the work we've done so far, you can see some of the feedback we've gotten from these communities. So when you ask them how satisfied they are with the current state of electricity in the country, your guess is as good as mine. You can see the coloring and what the responses are. So these are not made up numbers, they are hard facts. We have the questionnaires, hard copies, sitting in our office, being analyzed by our business analysts as they come in from these communities. So these are the hard facts that we have. So with this, we know exactly what they feel and what they need. So you can also see most of them they've not even heard about solar, they've not seen it, they've not used it. Even, it will interest you to know that even in Lagos and Abuja, some people still don't know much about solar power systems and all that. It will interest you to know. So how much, not to talk of those in the rural communities. So you can see the hard numbers, the data, and with this, we are making huge progress in addressing the challenges, which is where also we strongly and passionately believe that we can work with REA to fast track meeting the needs of these people. So this is also part of the numbers we've generated so far. So it's a mix of commercials and technical. So we are not just looking at the technical, we're also looking at the commercials and how to commercialize this and make them worthwhile. Yeah, so these are just some pictures from the rural outreach community engagement in the administration of the questionnaires we are doing in the communities. And also this is the use case. So we have also done some level of use case of our portable solar generator system in some rural communities. The people are happy with it. They've seen how it works and how it functions, and they are very happy, and they are expectant. So the world and Nigeria cannot wait for us to come out and fully roll out these solutions. Yeah, so pretty much that's all for my presentation. Thank you for your time, for listening. I don't know if this is the right time to call for questions. Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask, but if you don't have the video, there's also a video we have to just show to you. So I can take like 3 or 4 questions in 3 minutes.
Yeah, so we also have some participants, quite a lot actually, joining online. So we might be taking some questions. We have some more time to take questions later on, but because Dave would be leaving, for airport soon, if you have any question, I know some of us are concerned about how did you get the UK partner. I'm sure you will have answers to that. And if you have any question particularly we've had 2 presentations now, one from the keynote from our engineer and of course to Dave. So I know some of you are already thinking, oh, can I have the opportunity to ask MD a question? So you have the floor. So just for us to control this, if you want to raise your hand, we can take maybe, okay. So we should take 3 questions and maybe 2 from online as well. So if you ask me a question, okay, so in the engineer, I will call a woman firstly for the sick. So, all right, please, you can come. Yeah, please. Can we get a mic? Okay, yeah. So you can state who your question is to, if it's to Dave, to MD, or to Innovate UK.
Oh, it's afternoon. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My question is to you. I don't know if I missed the part where you talked about disposing of the waste, because I see a lot of batteries and stuff like that. If we're talking about renewable and how to clean I don't know if I missed that part. I'd like to talk more on it. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was when I mentioned about lead acid batteries, right? So, you know, lead is a poison. When lead gets into the environment, it can contaminate groundwater, it can contaminate food, and it could be carcinogenous. That it can cause cancer. So, lead acid batteries are known to be high pollutants for the environment. But with your sodium-ion battery-based technology, you eliminate these issues. So that's the area of the waste I was talking about. And currently there are not well-developed technologies to handle this lead-acid battery waste in Nigeria. So the best many people do is to ship them over to China and India for recycling and for reuse in making new lead-acid batteries. But most of them find their way into our environment and pollute them. Thank you.
Are you satisfied? Awesome. Yeah, let's take the question from the MD first. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if we can put the slides back up. I think I wanted to touch on, one is a follow-on question from in the battery recycling aspect, while the other is I wanted to find out these stakeholder engagements that you have been doing.
Sorry, can we have the slide?
I think there's one slide that had the map of the stakeholder engagement.
Yes.
Exactly. So I just wanted to find out, you've talked about community outreach, stakeholder engagement, and energy audit. I just wanted to know what exactly, how are you going about that community outreach, and what is the message? What are you looking to achieve with that? Because we do quite a lot of that from the standpoint of having the renewable energy user cooperatives in each of our projects that we do.
Yeah.
So I just wondered, you know, on what scale are you doing that, and what is the major messaging for that?
Okay, so the objective of the community outreach is in multiple folds. First is to reach out to the people, let them get to know us, and we get to know them. They get to know us as an organization that has a solution to their problems and that we can solve their power problems. So first off, it's for branding purposes. And again, it is also to know what their issues are. Most of them tell us, okay, because in the questionnaire is properly structured to capture what is the average consumption of energy they require, either per day or per week basis. How much do they spend in energy access, in acquiring energy? What are their sources of power? Is it kerosene? Is it candle? Is it firewood? Is it petrol? How much they spend? What's their budget like? Yeah, so those are some of the things we tend to find out from them. And we also use that also to gather data about them so that in future we can easily reach out, communicate to them. If there are packages, for instance, by the time this our R&D work is done, we have a database of users that we can reach out and come up with schemes for them. So, for instance, we are working, I know most of us are familiar with the pay-as-you-go business model, whereby users don't need to pay to acquire these systems. They just pay over time or rent it. Yeah, so these are some of the packages we are coming up for them. So based on those we have interaction with, and we have their data, by the time we are ready to roll out these things, we can easily reach out to them and make them these offers, and they can come on board. Most of them will tell you that they cannot afford to pay for this, even for the 1 kilowatt system as is presently priced, but they desire to own these things. So by virtue of the fact that we've come in contact with them, we have had numbers of people who we can reach out to and make these things work for them. So it's multifaceted regarding the objective of the community outreach. It's also a way to know the key stakeholders in these communities and know how best to interact with them and put them in groups or in cooperatives to set up our power rollout solutions when we get to that point. The funding is very limited. We are doing this out of our lean budget and lean resources, but it's succeeding because the feedback and the failure is wonderful. They are just waiting for us. And REA, this is a very fantastic area where I think REA needs to come in and partner with us, or we partner with you, so that we see how best to penetrate this. It's a risky venture too, considering the security situation in Nigeria currently, moving around different parts of challenged areas, hotbeds, but we have our ways. So far, we've not recorded any incidents with our outreach guys, and thank God, and we are pushing on. Thank you.
So, just as a follow-on question, you're doing this purely as private sector?
Yes, currently.
With no government support whatsoever?
Yes, we want to prove a point first before we can call on government.
Okay, because I don't know, based on your presentation, does it state how many units you've deployed, or how much power have you provided so far?
No, so we are still at the data gathering stage. Remember, we are still developing this solution based on the funding we got from Innovate UK. So we are using the fund to develop this sodium-ion-based portable solution, which once we are done, it's a 2 years project. We're already 8 months into it, and we are beginning to see outputs that we are currently test running.
Okay, because with the NEP program, there is a subsidy that is available, which I'm sure you are aware. And if you are not, it means we are not doing our work properly. Are you aware of NEP?
Yeah, I'm aware of a couple of REA programs.
A couple?
We'll discuss offline.
No, there's nothing to discuss offline about. The programs are there for people to have access to the money. If the money is there and nobody is accessing it, then our work is not, is also not being done. So I think it's something that you need to engage at least before you leave.
Okay.
There are some people within the NEP team that are here that perhaps you need to engage with them. And any other person that is also in your situation, I think that needs to happen as well. So the second issue about the batteries, what I wanted to find out is that I know that some battery developers and suppliers nowadays come up with the scheme where you are able to deploy the batteries. Then after a certain number of years, you can get the batteries back and replace them.
Yes.
Is this something you have considered? Because
Yes.
I feel like it's it sounds like a very good way of recycling. You know, to her point, you know, if I know I have an agreement with you that after 5 years or after 10 years, you come and get your batteries back, bring another set, then use the same battery to manufacture or to assemble another battery, then I think it reduces the environmental burden.
Yes, to address that, Asion, who is our UK partner, is doing a lot of work in this. Asion has brokered, at the level of UK, has brokered a partnership with Jaguar Land Rover. Jaguar Land Rover is a major car manufacturer globally, so the arrangement is to draw up some of the electric vehicle used batteries, lithium batteries, and repurpose them for stationary power generation. That whole initiative of battery repurposing and battery recycling, we are establishing it here in Nigeria as well. So we're already discussing and working with Asion to make that happen. Because currently, even globally, recycling lithium-ion battery is still a major challenge. There are not much options or solutions towards that. Currently, because most installations are relatively new, the world is gearing up for a major challenge by the time you flood everywhere with all these batteries and there are no facilities to repurpose or recycle them. So we've seen the vision already and we are working to replicate that here in Nigeria. So yes, we have plans for that and we are happy to discuss the investment proposal with your team. Any other questions? I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, so sorry, I'll come back to both of you very quickly, just to make sure we include people online. So let's take 2 questions from online very quickly, and then I'll come back to you. All right, Tara, can we get the first person online?
Would you like to take your question?
Yes, for the question.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, please introduce yourself and your question.
My name is Joro Salihu. I'm from the REA, the NEP And my question is directed at Dave. I'd like to find out, for the repurposed batteries, what's the life expectancy of those batteries? Because that is very key, being that they're depreciated already. Thank you.
So the life expectancy of the battery, okay, the life expectancy of the batteries. Well, you know, life expectancy most times is dependent on the load, how you flog these batteries and the load you put on them. So pretty much when your brand new lithium-ion batteries goes down to 80%, especially maybe for electric vehicles, you have to just look for brand new ones. So you can take it, so if the original life expectancy is 10 years, for instance, by the time we repurpose your batteries, you can still get 5 to 6 years out of it. This is giving myself a margin of being conservative. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Can we take the second question from online?
Timothy, would you like to ask a question?
Timothy.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello. Yes. 2 questions actually is to actually get how far the sodium ion technology has gone far on the manufacturing processes. Has it gone through the IEC certifications for acceptability worldwide? And then the number 2 is that can these batteries be used on utility scale, that is having them in megawatt hour ratings, not just in kilowatt hour ratings? So those are just the 2 questions. The certifications so far, and if they can be used on utility scale. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let me start with your last question. So yes, you can use this sodium-ion battery solution in megawatt hours storage scale. As a matter of fact, sodium-ion battery technologies are usually preferred for stationary power storage or stationary power solution compared to mobile solutions, at least at the stage at which it is in its development. So yes, you can run it for megawatts hour utility scale power projects, and it will work very well. Regarding the certifications, yes, a lot of certifications so far have been gotten for this sodium-ion battery technology. I must mention at this point that sodium-ion battery technology, one of the primary leaders in pushing this technology is a company in the UK called Faradion. Faradion has been researching on this battery solution since 2012, and recently Faradion was able to broker a deal with Reliance Industries, an Indian-based conglomerate, and they were able to broker that deal for about, I think, £20 million or something. So yeah, so if Reliance didn't see value and future in this battery, I'm not sure they'll be putting such money down. So yes, a lot of certifications and several patents have already been gotten on the sodium-ion battery technology. For instance, the patent of being able to discharge it to 0 volts before transportation or for storage. Currently, that is hard to achieve with lithium-ion battery technologies, which is why most times they won't let you fly it by air. It has to go by sea, and even when you're transporting them by sea, it has to be in specially made enclosures and containment. But for sodium-ion battery, you can easily fly with this. So yes, and the patent for that is already in existence, and Faradion has that already. And Asion is working very closely with Faradion because they are our backbone also for the cell supply. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think Dave is taking the show today. We don't have so much time. So let me take a question. If we could do this in 1 minute each, I'm so sorry. We still have more questions to, Simon and every other person talking today. So yeah, let's take, unfortunately I don't know your name, but yeah, 1 minute.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Gary Zamaninaman, working with the REA. My MD, other CEOs present, good morning. Mr. David, I want to go directly to you. You have not exposed us to how you won this prize, what you are telling us. You only expose us to the work you have done. But how did you win the race? And I'm sure you must have studied in UK or Nigeria here. Then tell us how you won these things. Thank you.
That's why we're here today. So
all right, thank you very much. Let me start by saying that I'm a full-bred Nigerian guy. Primary school, secondary school, university, masters, all in Nigeria. Maybe PhD in UK. Yes, and I also want to mention that we won this without me traveling to the UK. The bulk of this work was done during the lockdown COVID period, so everything was purely online. A professor in one of the universities in the UK, University of Wolverhampton, just saw me during the brokerage event, just like we are trying to engage now, but during the online brokerage event, he saw my profile and he reached out to me. Hi, Dave. He's so-and-so person. His name is Professor N.D. Ekere. Used to be in University of Wolverhampton as a dean, currently the vice chancellor, one of the pro-chancellors of Liverpool John Moores University in the UK. Yeah. So he reached out to me and said, Dave, that he likes my profile, what we do, can we collaborate to do this Innovate UK Energy Catalyst Roundtable project? I said, oh, okay, that's fine, that's interesting. I was just, freelancing at the brokerage event. So he came, he pulled in ACN Group, he pulled in DZP. That was how we all came together online, and we started working on packaging our submission, our bid. So Nevertich was actually given the task of handling the commercialization aspect of the technology, since Nigeria is where we hope to deploy these solutions when they are ready. So Nevertich focused more on coming up with the business case, the business model, and the numbers that will drive profitability for the business, while our UK partners, being led by ACN Group, focused more on the technology development side of it. So we all came together, worked together online, and we put up our write-ups and proposals, and then we submitted. And to God be the glory, we are one of the, I think, 5 or so organizations that won it out of about 126 consortia that participated globally. So it's pretty much, and the beautiful thing about the program is that the requirement to participate, we are really not so stringent. They did not focus on too many documentations, or you must have so and so millions of dollars or pounds in your account from your financial turnover in the past 2 to 3 years that we usually encounter when you want to go and get money from commercial banks and all that. They didn't ask for an arm and a leg. They didn't ask for my blood genotype and my blood group. I mean, they just say, just send in your proposal. They are willing to give you the offer and talk about due diligence later. So the due diligence was, for them, is not the primary thing. The primary thing is that they want to see how you think, how you reason, and your creativity and the innovation you bring to the table. So when you bring that and they see, then they can now begin to check, okay, but even at that, the requirements were not so stringent. Of course, before they give you their money, they must be sure that it's not for money laundering or for fraudulent means. Yeah, but that's pretty much, it was straightforward. We won it and they gave it to us. And to be honest, they have actually paid. At least they are paying a milestone. So it's not just on paper, it's reality. And part of the funds too is what we are using to carry out the community outreach program. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, and those are the things we'll be talking about today. The funding round 9 is actually up now, and it's closing on the 10th of August. So you might be saying, oh, why are we having this event just now? This event is actually also meant to launch us into round 10, which also is coming up soon. So we have about £20 million for 9, and also the other round coming for 10. So we might not have this gathering like this for 10. So, I mean, just letting you know that this might actually launch even before you know it, because we know as soon as round 9 is closing on the 10th of August, the other might launch. I mean, I won't give, so you won't hold me for my word. Yeah, but very soon. And like he said, the requirement is not a lot. You'll still see it in the presentation, but because of our time, we might not go through the entire presentation again, since you're already hearing about this. But you need to form a consortium. You need to find a UK administrator, like an administrative partner, who is going to work with you. And that's why we are here. We have quite a number of them online. And the brokerage event he mentioned online, we're also going to be talking about that. We have a platform called the B2Match platform. So it's actually meant to match you on the platform after this event. Some of you will have seen it in your emails that you received. So you create a profile. If you have a concept note of what you're working on, you can put it there. So you have other people, they are actually checking, like people are already creating their profile online on B2Match. So if you have a particular project, just like they did, I'm not sure you attended like in person like this. Yeah, so it was just online. So you can create your profile, you can upload your document, you can upload your sample. If you have prototype or whatever it is, you can put on B2Match, and then you can find a way. You can request for meeting. I mean, when you see someone's profile, maybe you have something interesting and you want, it doesn't have to mean that someone from the UK will find you. You could actually reach out to a partner in the UK to say, oh, can we put in for this application together? But then we'll still touch on that. So just to buttress that. Final question, 45 seconds. Where's the microphone? It's too far away. We can hear you, use your voice. Yeah. To who? Okay.
For Ahmed from International Energy Services Limited, we are a developer, and we want to know the security, because it said it is outdoor friendly. But having the understanding of what's happening in Nigeria, the theft, batteries are not cake. If you see this, all the street lights and all these things are being carted away by all these vendors. So what are you putting in place or putting in mind when you are preparing for the outdoor, the security, anti-theft security, and having understanding of overflooding of all the locations? So are you putting all this together into your solution? Thank you.
Yeah, so regarding the security, the key things as manufacturer OEMs that we can do is to ensure that we put trackers in these systems. We put trackers in them, and we also have the ability to remotely shut them down. Those are the two key things we can do when it comes to the security, because so that you can always know where they are. Even when somebody removes them and takes them to a different location, remotely you can know their exact GPS coordinates, and maybe you can signal the security agencies to go do the needful. And of course, we can shut them down remotely, so that even when somebody steals them, it will become useless for the person until whenever the person decides to repent and return it to you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. At this time, we can put our hands together for him. I will not take any question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to have you. Good to take it. Yeah. So we're actually behind our schedule. We've spent so much time on this, and I would really want us to move into the next thing. For those who are online, I'm doing quite a number of things together. So I will share Dave's email on the chat, so that you can take note of that. But if you are in here, feel free to meet Dave, maybe over lunch. I'm not sure. It seems Dave has resolved to cancel his flight and stay with us. I'm not. I don't know. All right. So at this time, we move into. Can I have the slide on? So into the overview of Energy Catalyst, round 9, and that we have a pre-recorded video by one of our colleagues who is going to lead that. That's Amy Flynn. Please, we have to just concentrate on this, and after this, you might have any question. We'll take all the questions together. After this presentation, we'll take Simon, because he's also a previous winner of the round 8 or 7? 7, okay. So we can answer all the questions together, because his presentation would go with this one. I'm actually supposed to have Dave after this presentation, but then since Dave is going to be leaving. So let's go into this. Yeah, can we have that?
Hi there, my name is Amy Flynn, and I'm here today to talk to you about Innovate UK and the Energy Catalyst. So Innovate UK is part of UK Research and Innovation, and we work with the government to invest over £7 billion a year in research and innovation with academia and industry to make the impossible possible. Through the UK's 9 leading academic and industrial funding councils, we create knowledge with impact. And as you can see, Innovate UK sits within UKRI. So Innovate UK aims to do 3 things. They aim to inspire, so we want to provide thought leadership on business-led innovation, state-of-the-art and focus areas, while also contributing to the government's innovation strategy. We want to invest. We want to explore the potential of a new area, provide the opportunity to develop new products, processes or services, and accelerate the process of going from idea to market. And we want to get people involved. We want to find potential collaborators with relevant expertise. We want to provide access to equipment and facilities. We also have a regional presence through the Innovate UK KTN, the Innovate UK Edge, and also the Catapult Network. So at Innovate UK, this is our core activity. We cover things from our managed programs through to the ISCF competitions, innovation loans, investor partnerships, and more sector-specific responsive areas. We also have innovation and growth advisors through Innovate UK Edge. But the most important thing to highlight is the key outcomes of 2020 to 2021. So there were 1,500 products and services launched, £3 million worth of follow-on investment, and 2,500 jobs created over the next 3 years. So now I will give an overview of the Energy Catalyst. The Energy Catalyst accelerates the innovation needed to end energy poverty. Through financial and advisory support and by building strategic partnerships and uncovering new insights, Energy Catalyst helps bring to market technologies and business models that can improve lives in Africa and Asia. Energy Catalyst is a springboard for innovators to de-risk, accelerate, and demonstrate their solutions for ending energy poverty. So what is the energy access challenge that Energy Catalyst is trying to resolve? Around 789 million people still lacked access to electricity in 2018. And without sustained efforts, 650 million people will still be left without access to electricity in 2030. It's estimated that poor electricity access is costing Africa 2% point reduction of gross domestic product growth each year, and the vast majority, so around 80% of those gaining access to electricity worldwide are in urban areas. And this represents a major opportunity for decentralized and smart energy systems, while also needing to limit global warming below 0.5% rise. So here are the core values of the Energy Catalyst. So firstly, we want to accelerate solutions through financial and advisory support, providing that springboard for innovators to de-risk, demonstrate, and deploy solutions. We want to build networks, so support catalyzes strategic partnerships and connections across the energy access ecosystem to help commercialize new technologies and business models. We want to unlock impact, so the support aims to help innovators pioneer new ways to improve lives in Africa and Asia and create economic opportunities. And we want knowledge to be shared. By uncovering new insights from testing and demonstrating innovation, Energy Catalyst contributes knowledge, case studies, and lessons learned, which benefit the wider energy access ecosystem. So how do we do this? Well, there are 3 main activities to the programme. First up is collaboration. We get partners from across the world together who have the needed expertise to develop an innovation for market. We have a competition, so we run open funding calls to provide grants for innovative solutions. And we have accelerations. Those who are awarded funding are also put into our accelerator programme to make sure the organisation, no matter where in the world they are based, are commercially ready as well as technologically ready for market. Here we can see some of the statistics on the success of the Energy Catalyst competitions. As you can see, it is a little bit competitive with just over a quarter of eligible applications receiving funding in round 7, but please do not be deterred as over half are above the 70% scoring threshold. So I just want to go through a bit of the impact to date. So the Energy Catalyst has supported 183 energy access relevant projects to date. This comprises of over 350 unique organisations across a wide range of energy access technologies and themes, and has targeted at least 34 countries in sub-Saharan Africa and South and Southeast Asia. This slide shows an overview of the technology areas we focus on. It comes as no surprise that since we fund clean energy technologies and business models, that the main technologies represented are renewables and energy storage. Where do we fund? This map shows where projects funded under Energy Catalyst have focused. As you can see, a large proportion of projects have been funded in South and Southeast African and South and Southeast Asian countries. There are, however, over 50 projects which are not represented here. in order to not misrepresent the data. These are projects, typically early stage, that are working to refine the target country or region or have applied to considering multiple countries or regions. Alongside the stats previously mentioned, it's worth noting that the Energy Catalyst Fund from Energy Catalyst funding, 174,000 people have been impacted by the 360 plus projects funded. There's also been around 165 new pieces of technology prototyped, with 127 new patents and £4 million worth of sales. The impact, as you can see, is quite impressive. And this slide shows a bit more of the impact that the Energy Catalyst Accelerator Programme has had through both noteworthy articles and fundraising activities. So what does the scope and eligibility look like for Energy Catalyst Round 9? So first, a bit of context. So the Ayrton Fund is a £1 billion fund over 5 years to tackle climate change. It's split between the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office and the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, so FCDO and BASE. And the objectives are to provide affordable access to electricity for those off-grid, to provide innovative solar solutions, to enhance large-scale battery technology to replace polluting diesel generators, clean cook stoves, reducing carbon output from industry, improving technology behind cooling systems, and designing low-emission and electric vehicles. Funding is also provided, so as you can see, funding is provided through FCDO and BASE, and the contributions are counted as part of the UK's Ayrton Fund commitment as previously shown. So there's up to £20 million currently available, and this also provides funding towards the Energy Catalyst Accelerator. And both of these provide funds to a variety of technology-specific priorities. There's also the UK aid budget, which comes into place, so official development assistance, and ODA refers to an aid intended to promote the economic development and welfare of developing countries. Such assistance must be reported to the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. So the UK currently allocates 0.5% of GNI for the ODA. So here's an overview of Round 9. The aim of this competition is to accelerate the innovations needed to create new or improved clean energy access in Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, or the Indo-Pacific regions. This will create a just and inclusive energy transition and extend the benefits of clean energy to all to meet Sustainable Development Goals 7, affordable and clean energy, and 13, which is climate action. So, transforming energy access. This aims to speed up access to affordable clean energy services for poor households, enterprises, and social institutions in Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, or the Indo-Pacific region. It must do this by supporting the development, testing, or scale-up of innovative technologies or business models, and must have a clear social or economic benefit to those regions. Clean energy access is also key, with organisations needing to have a business model which addresses 3 key metrics: affordable, reliable, and low carbon. Business models which do not meet all 3 will not be assessed. And gender equality and social inclusion is also something to consider. For example, you'll have to be able to identify the main beneficiaries of the project, describe how you'll mitigate any negative effects, and provide a plan addressing both gender and social inclusion during the life of your project, and outline how your project will encourage equality. So the FCDO are prioritising their £10 million on projects focused in those Ayrton challenges. So just to touch on those again, these are next generation solar technologies and business models, smart green grids, including mini and main grid related technologies, energy storage, including batteries and mechanical storage, low carbon hydrogen, modern cooking, low energy inclusive appliances, the need to leave no one behind, specifically technologies and business models, targeting poor or marginalized groups or fragile contexts, and sustainable cooling. So what is the eligibility of round 9? So through the ODA and the UK aid budget, projects must demonstrate that there's a clear economic and social benefit to one or more of the targeted countries. The primary beneficiary must be one of these ODA eligible countries. The UK can be a secondary beneficiary. And if you don't prove ODA eligibility, we won't send it for assessment. So here are the ODA eligible countries. I'll let you take a quick look over these. I appreciate there are quite a lot. So round 9 is split into 3 stages. We have early stage, which is focused more on feasibility studies with a slightly smaller budget of £50,000 to £300,000 and a duration of 6 to 12 months. Within the early stage, UK SMEs can make a sole or joint applications. However, we really do encourage international partners at this stage. And applications must be led by an SME, academic or research and technology organisation. And there's a maximum 50% research participation in alignment with that. And next stage is mid-stage, which looks more at industrial research. And this has a budget of 50 to 1.5 million pounds, so £50,000 to £1.5 million, and a duration of 12 to 24 months. This must be collaborative and must be led by a business, and some work must be done in one of the ODA countries. And partnering with an international entity in country is required. Similarly, late stage is experimental development, which is £50,000 to £5 million, and a duration of 12 to 36 months. Again, the late stage must be collaborative, must be led by a business, and must have some work, so testing or demonstration done in one of the ODA countries. And partnering with an international entity in country is required. So the types of organisations that we fund. So for businesses, we fund small or micro, medium or large research organisations, universities, not-for-profit RTOs, or so research and technology organisations, including catapults, public sector research establishments, and research council institutes. We also fund public sector organisations and charities doing research activities. So you must involve at least one micro, small or medium-sized enterprise in the project. And if you are 100% owned by a large parent company, as a small subsidiary, this means you are classed as a large company and will only be entitled to the relevant grant. So that's something to consider. So there are 2 types of leads within the Energy Catalyst. First up is the admin lead. The admin lead will be the recipient of the award and will distribute funding to the international partners through a hub and spoke model. So they will receive the funding from us and distribute it out to all the different partners, including potential other UK partners. And they will also manage and be accountable for the finances for the project in accordance with the terms and conditions of the award. The admin lead must be UK based and they must claim funding through this competition. So for early stage, they can be a UK SME, academic or RTO, but for mid and late stages, they can be a UK business only. The technical lead, however, will lead on the development of the work, of the scope, work packages within the project and other work from a technical perspective. The technical lead can be from anywhere in the world, and they can be a micro, small or medium-sized enterprise, academic or RTO. They must claim funding through this competition, and UK companies can be both the administrative and technical leads. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier, but it doesn't have to be the way. And again, there's an overview of the criteria. So in terms of collaboration, all projects must have at least 2 organisations claiming grant within the application, other than early stage. And the UK admin lead can count as one of the collaborators if they are involved in the project beyond an administrative role. We also allow resubmission. So if you have applied into Energy Catalyst before, you are allowed to resubmit your previous application into round 9. So there's also a couple of other additional requirements for the Energy Catalyst. So the Energy Catalyst Accelerator, each project is enrolled into this, which is currently delivered through the Carbon Trust. The accelerator provides one-to-one support to primarily the technology lead, but a cohort support is also offered to all project partners. And it's provided via an MFA with the declaration required at the start of the project. And also we have reporting and monitoring. So each project will be allocated a monitoring officer, commonly known as an MO, who they will meet with quarterly. You'll be required to capture additional key performance indicators and also be required to complete a post-project evaluation report 1 and 2 years after completion. So that's everything from me today. Thank you for listening. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch either via the email below or via the BetaMatch link, which I have shared with the organisers of the event today. You can ask questions on the BetaMatch website and also meet potential collaborators. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. I know we have some questions, but I want us to take that together with, questions for Simon. A lot of the things you want to ask will actually be answered maybe in Simon's presentation because they've been a part of this process. And if your questions are answered, please you don't have to maybe ask again so that we can, maximize our time. I know we are over time because we're supposed to spend about 1 hour over lunch, also networking. But we might take about maybe 20 minutes more into the house because we were supposed to go for lunch at 1. But if you don't mind, maybe another 20 minutes we'll be out of here for lunch. Dave, let me bring you up now. So after your presentation, Simon, I'm so sorry, Dave. All right, so I think I will bring up I think your picture is on now. So we can have Simon. They've also been a part of this, and I think that was around 7. And of course, whatever question you have from Amy's presentation and of course to Simon, we can take all that together. Thanks everyone for your patience. Simon, please come up.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Just like to thank Innovate UK and the KTN, and also to greet engineer Salihu and all of his colleagues from the REA and our colleagues from the press and everybody who's attended in person today. I know it's not easy to get to places physically, and also everybody who's joined us online. I greet you all today. Thank you very much for coming. So my surname's misspelt, by the way. It's Igofossi. There's no B. There's no B in my name there. But, and yes, you probably thought I was an Englishman, but I'm not. But I'm going to tell you about my company, Pyrogenesis, which is a UK-registered company. We incorporated a Nigerian subsidiary. So it's the UK company that applied for Energy Catalyst. We secured round 6 and round 7, and we had very good news for round 8 as well, and we'll be applying for round 9. There shows you that there's a kind of like a consistency, a build-up, a development. And this is one of the things that I think Energy Catalyst actually likes to see. It likes to see the formation of real partnerships that work across boundaries. It likes to see real partnerships that work across disciplines and institutions. And if you don't have the capabilities, your consortium is what's meant to give you those capabilities, especially when it comes to UK universities, because all UK universities are funded by UKRI, UK Research and Investment, and they're the ones who also fund Innovate UK. And British universities, they get their money because they show that they work together with industry. Okay, so they're open for business, and that's how David was approached by an academic, and because they're switched on. British universities know how to work with SMEs nowadays, and they're looking for partnerships. So that's one plug that I'd just like to make on behalf of UKRI, Innovate UK, and KTN. So yes, I'm giving you a little bit about a case study from a round 6 project that we did here in Nigeria, and telling you a bit about my organization. But before I just go onto this slide and tell you about our organization, I actually just want to put into context innovation. A lot of people kind of seem to miss how significant it is. If you've got a major challenge which Nigeria has in terms of energy access, and not just energy access, we have epileptic energy supply. And that kind of traumatizes me when I'm living here and I never know when the light is going to be here or not. It's traumatic. And you wouldn't believe how much of an impact that has on productivity. It's immense. So it's a huge problem. It needs to be solved, and it needs to be solved so that industry, commerce, society can move forward. And innovation is the one thing that will create the solutions. And then we'll be living in what we think is a utopia. Can you imagine Nigeria with no blackout? That's what we all want. That's what we all want. It's a huge problem, huge. And we're called to do greater things. And to put this into context, right, greatness, we need to start acting with greatness. So where do we get our kind of perspectives of greatness from? Okay, I can remember when the internet didn't exist, right? Look at how it affects all of your lives, all of our lives. If you take the internet out of the equation here, we wouldn't even be sat here communicating with people across the globe in real time. It just wouldn't happen, right? Innovation made that happen. And that innovation didn't just happen by chance. It happened by thousands and tens of thousands of people working tirelessly, passionately, committed to making this change happen. Hence now we have the modern world that we live in. And that same kind of passion and drive is what can solve the energy crisis in places like Nigeria. Greatness is what took Christopher Columbus across the Atlantic to discover, they say, the Americas. Everybody has heard of Columbus. Who here has heard of Mansa Musa, ruler of the Mali Empire in 1320s? His predecessor was a man of greatness. Okay? And his predecessor sent 400 ships to say, go and find a route across that big ocean. Okay? And I think about 1 or 2 ships came back. And when they came back and gave him a report, he said, right. He gathered his resources, gathered his people, sent 2,000 ships from Africa to sail across the Atlantic. He went in person himself, left his post, and said, I'm going to go and solve this huge problem called the ocean. You know, a lot of historians will tell you that they never made it. But if you read a book called They Came Before Columbus, and you go and see these big Tekken, they call themselves Tekken big heads. They're African heads sculptured, left in the ground. We made it to South America about 200 years before Columbus. Wouldn't history have been completely different if it was Africans that set up the transatlantic trade? History would have been completely different. But unfortunately, Mansa Musa did not have the foresight to recognize how you need to be consistent and continuously continue investing like his predecessor had done to make these great changes actually come to fruition. So regardless, and this is a message to our politicians in Nigeria, things like the NEP program are doing should not be meddled with from one administration to the next. They need to be supported continuously for generations for us to solve the huge problems that we have in this country. Okay? So we need great leadership. And great leadership, so there's a term that they use, you'll hear it in sports, 1,000 shots on goal. If you want to score a goal, better to have 1,000 shots on goal. Well, Mansa Musa's predecessor put 2,000 shots on goal. We as Africans already were knowing this stuff in the 1300s, right? Now, so the thing is, okay, each of these programs, like the NEP program, that's what, 550 million engineer? Yeah, and then of course we're talking, you know, tens of millions for Innovate UK. Each of the projects that they fund is another shot on goal, which hopefully is going to create the innovation that's going to demonstrate that we've solved the problem. We've solved the problem. Replicate it now. We need thousands of businesses that are all getting into this sector. We've seen how the solar sector now is moving ahead, but the solar sector is only solving a part of the problem. There's still a lot of problems to be solved. So that's where pyrogenesis comes in. We specialize in pyrolysis, and we believe genesis is what contains genius, systems, creation. Yeah, so we're a bioenergy and biofuels and carbon removal technology provider. Okay, we're not just solving one problem. We're solving multiple problems simultaneously. And what we do is that we enable rural communities to take what they have an abundance of, which is agricultural waste, add value to it. Okay, so they can valorize that waste, and then these are underutilized wastes. So nobody's doing anything with them. These guys, you can see, they're clearing a cassava field. They'll stack that at the side of the field. It will rot. It will create carbon dioxide and methane gas, which are greenhouse gases. So if we don't do anything about this, it's an underutilized resource. Our technology that we've invented will convert what you can see them thrown, piling up into renewable electricity that they need, okay, biofuels, organic fertilizer, and even carbon removals that the world wants to buy now to address climate change problem. So our farmers can become carbon farmers. Yeah? We're solving multiple problems simultaneously. Solar is good, we need solar. It's cheap, it's easy, it's quick. But when solar was first invented, 1 watt of solar electricity probably cost you $10,000. 1 watt. And because of the investment that's gone in over the years, it now costs you a lot less than that. Okay? So you can see our name, pyrogenesis, and also our motto, which is all things work together for good. And that's because it takes a mindset to realize it's not a problem. It's actually a challenge that we're going to overcome. So I just wanted to provide some context. Sorry for taking up your time. I hope the amount of breakfast I saw some of you eating, you can wait till 5 o'clock before you get your lunch. I didn't even have any yet, so okay. Please afford me the opportunity. Let me see which one I'm clicking here. Okay, so here what we do is that we integrate our patented pyrolysis technology, which is called pyrochemy. Okay, we're pyrolysis. You've heard of alchemy. So alchemy takes base materials, turns them into higher value. So, and then what we do is that we integrate our technology with commercial processes that are and other complementary technologies. So David and I, we need to be chatting, definitely. You don't just need solar to charge your batteries, okay? And then we develop circular economy systems that will create value from any waste material that is combustible. So those tablecloths that are in front of you, they'll burn. I could put them in my machine and give you diesel and kerosene and electricity and fertilizers, okay? And then, so what we're doing is that we're putting waste to work for the purpose of producing good outcomes in our society. And then we're also, in terms of creating energy access, helping people use what they have. All I have is a jar of oil. Okay, pour. Go and find the things that you can pour into. Right. And then at the same time, we're getting the carbon removal, and then those benefits have got to be accrued to people who are at the base of our society. Nobody's helping these people otherwise. Okay? And not just them, but the industries who have chosen to go to where they come from. Right? Now this, you'll see here, is our technology. It's a containerized technology. It's in a 20-foot container. The chap standing next to me, it took me 2 years to find him. He's from Italy. His name is Claudio Amoresi. He's Italian, and our machine is built in Italy. Okay? And it's important that you develop real partnerships. I knew this guy was a partner for me when he said, even if it costs me, I can see the vision. I want to be part of it. Okay? So this is what you're looking for in building consortium. People who believe in your vision and the change that you're bringing. So as you can see, pyrochemy, pyrolysis is an advanced thermochemical technology. Alchemy, a process that converts base materials to high-value commodities. That's what this technology does. And this is how it works. So it's a technology, as I said, that can convert any kind of combustible waste, including waste plastics, into bioenergy, biofuels, fertilizer, and carbon removal. And the whole world at COP26, there was a pledge for $164 trillion to solve the climate change problem. So we want our share of that right here in Nigeria, okay? And we can get our share of that by using technologies like this. So we take a feedstock, which is a waste that doesn't compete with land use for food production, and we put it into the system, heat it up, and then out of it comes effectively what's like charcoal, which you can then put back into the ground, and that becomes carbon removal, and that's where we get our organic fertilizer from. You could also use it as a smokeless fuel for those cooking stoves, yeah, that they also get carbon credits for. You'll always get this biochar. And then the vapors that we produce by heating up this stuff, which would be the smoke, is what we use to then as our fuel source to power and generate electricity or process heat or renewable cooling. If you don't want to do those things, you can actually condense those vapors into something called bio-oil. And working with our project partners in Energy Catalyst Round 7, which was Aston University and Ebury, they helped us to develop a method for upgrading that bio-oil to kerosene and diesel blending components. You can also create refinery-grade naphtha. We haven't started working on that one, and use that for making virgin plastic. We're chemical engineers, so this is our territory, right? So it's a very versatile technology and integrates well with mini-grids that are running solar, because solar can carry the electricity during the day, we can carry the electricity during the night. During the day, we switch over to biofuel production. Your community can convert its waste now into a commodity that it can export to any part of Nigeria and generate wealth from what was otherwise just a little pot of oil that it didn't know what to do with. So, let me press the buttons in the right way. This is my team. You can see I'm the kind of like co-founder and co-inventor, but I was also, I think, what gave me a bit of an insight for stuff like this is that I was the first non-executive director of Leicester City Council. I used to work in local government in the UK, and I was daring enough to volunteer to go and tell the people who ran the city of Leicester how they should run it, okay? And they invited me to sit around their table and make strategic decisions with them. So that gave me an insight how to run large organizations. It employed about 17,500 people. And I saw a lot, I learned a lot from those people that I was working with at the senior level. And it prepared me, I suppose, for roles like this to stand up in front of rooms and explain, you know, who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm about. My co-founder, Dr. Joseph Eki, we actually studied together at Aston University. He was doing his PhD on pyrolysis technologies. He specializes you know, in materials recovery, so battery recovery. Joe is working on this with Jaguar Land Rover. I think it's about $5 million or £5 million program. You need to speak to him, Dave, yeah? Okay, I'll put you in touch. So he specializes in material recovery. He's an excellent process development engineer, manages lots of projects, and he's published peer-reviewed articles in eminent journals online. Go and check him out. You'll see some of his great work. Dr. Mohammed Sagir, he was a chief technician, and he helped the professors at Aston University who developed a pyrolysis technology, patented, solve a lot of problems, and you know, so he's a research and innovation specialist and bioenergy project manager specialist, yeah? And then, of course, we have Malcolm, who helps us manage our finances for all of these grants. And I'm telling you now, it's not trivial managing your finances to put in a claim, because you have to have all the evidence when it comes to an energy catalyst claim. Because if you don't keep the receipts, they won't pay you. They're not going to believe a story. They want to see the evidence, okay? All right, and keeping track of all of that, you know the amount of money you'll spend on this project, and you think, best to get an app that just takes a snap of the receipt. You can throw away the receipt and it's all on your system. So that's what Malcolm helped us to set up. So it's essential to have a good financial tracking system if you're going to have an Innovate UK project and claim your money back, because you have to spend the money and then they reimburse it to you. So you have to have a cash flow that you can manage for at least 3 months, probably better 6, okay? Because if anything goes wrong, somebody went ill or whatever, and then your claim is hung there and you're waiting for payment, you better still have money to keep the project going, okay? And so financial management is essential in Innovate UK projects. Good systems. Engineer, this is I'm doffing my cap to REA here, because thank you very much to REA. You gave us access to your database. You'd surveyed around 8,000 off-grid communities, okay? And so we knew where those off-grid communities were. And this map represents each of them, okay? Each of these green dots, yeah, around 8,000. Those 8,000 off-grid communities are just scratching the surface. Because I showed one of your colleagues, Anita Otobu, some satellite data that we had that showed you for each of those dots, there was about 100 villages around them, which you guys had missed. Okay, but I know you had to do a job, but what I'm saying is that this is just a fraction of the problem in Nigeria. It's huge. This is just 8,000, this is just us getting started, right? So, and according to the African Development Bank, Nigeria is actually the world's largest mini-grid market. So anybody who wants to do mini-grids, this is the superpower of mini-grid capital in the world. Okay, and what that means is that There are millions of people, tens of millions, I mean, what, 50-something% of our population live in these areas that are far away from a grid connection, okay? And that means that there's over 80 million Nigerians without access to power at the moment, okay? So, you know, that represents a commercial opportunity of over $9 billion a year. Why doesn't anybody want to come to Nigeria and do business? There's a lot of challenges. A lot of people are scared of Nigeria, okay? So part of Energy Catalyst as well is showcasing that we're actually very friendly people. Yes, there are security issues, but there's ways of managing them, okay? And this is why you need local partners who know how to operate on the ground. You don't want to just come to Nigeria without having a local partner. So just your local knowledge of where to go and where not to go. And I got a colleague here, Sam Eze, who always tells me, this area is hot at the moment, okay? Don't go there, right? So you need local partnerships to know how to operate in Nigeria. There are challenges, but we can overcome those challenges by working in partnership. Now this is the need. This is the real story here, okay? Because we worked with the University of Leicester to develop satellite data analysis tools. And we were interested, of course, being a biomass and bioenergy and biofuel technology, we wanted to know, well, first of all, do we know that there's enough biomass available, waste biomass, okay? And in doing our research, of course, Nigeria produces over 25 million tons of cassava, rice, and maize waste residues per year. That equates to 18 terawatt-hours of renewable energy potential if you can convert it using a technology and an innovation, which is what we're working on. And that's equivalent to running a 2 gigawatt power station 24/7, 365 days a year. So it's a really untapped resource. So that means, and when we did our research with Leicester, we found that 98% of those 8,000 off-grid communities that we surveyed using the satellite data tool, these communities could meet their entire energy demand using crop residues that are available within 10 kilometers of where they live, okay? And not only that, but many of them, if you see that there, they have access to more than 20 times the amount of waste that they need to generate the electricity. So they could potentially, if they had the electricity, they had the technology, they could convert all of that surplus waste and become biofuel exporters. And also they could remove carbon and become carbon farmers and get paid, okay? Paid in carbon credits, in foreign exchange. So this can now create a whole new economic system within this country if we get it right. So it's a huge need, but there's also a great solution. So this is like where we use one of our geospatial mapping tool capabilities to look. This is one of this is actually one of your database communities. We went in there, we did the on-the-ground survey as well to just cross-check whether what you were saying on your database actually aligned up with what we found by doing our own surveys. And it actually did. So whoever did that work for you, they did a good job. So when we're looking at a community that we're going to go into, we need to know, first of all, you know, is it going to work? Is the business case going to stack up? Do they have enough waste? And so again, Energy Catalyst, we didn't have these capabilities. Okay, we're chemical engineers. So we needed to work with a UK university who had these capabilities and who had the satellite data and who had the supercomputers to process the images and all that kind of stuff. So these are all capabilities. The UK universities, you know, the capabilities that they have, you're accessing world-class capabilities here, guys. That's what you should be. Okay, I know our Nigerian universities are doing great work, but they don't have the same level of equipment and you know, expertise sometimes. They've got great expertise, but they just don't have access to certain kind of tools, whereas UK universities do because they're very well funded. So this is what you should really be looking at as your opportunity. How do I access capability and then also capacity? So Innovate UK is going to fund the capacity. And then we were then able to have like eyes on the ground from space, using space satellite data. And then that helps us to say, okay, we can use satellite data now to look at anywhere in this country and assess its viability for our solution. We don't actually physically have to send boots on ground, which is what David seems to be doing. David, I can tell you a load of communities that you should go to without even being there. Yeah, and we should have a conversation with about that as well. So we can map their fields, okay? We can even tell you when they harvested their crops, okay? And then on the ground, okay, we can't shout from the satellite in space and say, how much electricity are you using? That's when we need to send people on the ground, and that's what we did here. We say, go into this community and tell us, you know, ask these people questions and come back. So all those information that Dave was telling you about, we did a similar thing, okay? That's where you can see the different colored houses are the ones that we surveyed. And then we understood their energy use, we understood their affordability, we understood which different types of appliances they're using, we understood where their productive use is, all of those kind of things. Essential to make the business case for your project. Okay, clearly very much loved by Energy Catalyst. Right, so in here you can see when we're talking biomass availability, this map now tells you which date the biomass is, where it is, how close it is, what the proximity is to the facility that's going to process it. I'll kind of speed up for you, yeah? And then we can get to discussion. Okay, so these are capabilities that we developed, again, with one of our university partners, University of Leicester. Now, this is the one I wanted to tell you about, the carbon cycle, because you can see at the moment, right, climate change and climate-smart agriculture. Nigeria can be a superpower in climate-smart agriculture because we can grow anything in this country in abundance. And if we convert what we grow and what we don't use, because it's a waste, into carbon, and we put that carbon back into the soil, as you can see, when we combust fossil fuels, we're sending carbon from the fossil reserve into the environment. If we're just using biofuels as our fuel, then because it's grown and it absorbed carbon, when you burn it, it returns the carbon. When it grows, so it's a cycle, okay? But when you combine biochar, which is what pyrolysis produces very well, that charcoal that I showed you, when you put that back into the soil, you've removed carbon from the environment. And by removing carbon, you've created a carbon credit, and that can be sold on an international market for foreign exchange, which we lack here, okay? So, this is one of the key things that we want to use to mobilize our communities, especially our rural off-grid communities, to be able to attract carbon finance that will finance each installation in each of these thousands and thousands of off-grid villages, which will complement, hopefully, the NEP program and the Energy Catalyst program, okay? So I'm trying to move the slides, but it doesn't want to move. Okay, so this is the carbon that I was talking about, yeah? It's charcoal, okay? But it's how it's produced that is what earns you the certification that you can then go for each of those certifications. You can sell them for 150 euros or $150 or whatever. So one of our systems, yeah, which produces 5,000 certificates a year, okay, in a small village, could be generating $750,000 in foreign exchange, yeah? Okay. So our farmers can become carbon farmers because of this innovation, transform their lives, transform livelihoods, okay? This is why Innovate UK chose that they should fund a company like Pyrogenesis and have us working in a country like Nigeria, yeah? So you need to see innovation, not just, there's a product there that's off the shelf and we're gonna go and just replicate it. No, something new that you've never heard about. Probably never heard about this until today, right? It's innovative, okay? Look for innovation, not off the shelf. Next slide, please. So value chains that we plug into very well. This is a major cassava processor that we've visited and we're talking with that we'll hopefully provide a solution to because they use a lot of diesel for generating electricity and also for generating heat. Now, many of you know that diesel increased in price from the beginning of this year to more than threefold increase. Yeah, it's now above 700. I heard some scary rumors it's going to go above 800 naira. For these guys, that's going to hurt, okay? But they've got an abundance of waste that we could use that they're just throwing away. And we could turn that into the same thing that they need diesel currently for, to generate electricity and heat. Next slide, please. This is one of our Energy Catalyst Round 6 project partners. It's a company called Cool Mill, and they have invented a system for milling rice. Okay, and it is a very innovative system, first of its kind in the world. It can compete head-on with Beulah Sataki, who are the major people, and I know they won't like to hear that, but just go and ask them about the trials that they've run with Cool Mill head-to-head and see if they'll admit to it, the results. And Cool Mill can therefore bring that quality of rice milling that you'd see in a huge rice mill right to the village. And then what do? They produce rice husk, which is a waste, and that rice husk can go into our machine, and we can convert that into the electricity that the cool mill uses. And then the biochar that we produce, then the farmers can use that as an organic fertilizer. It's cyclical. Everybody wins. And then the carbon credit, people say, we want to buy the carbon finance from you. Go and put it in that village. Okay? We're ready to work with you guys. Okay? And so Cool Mill are currently doing stuff in Nigeria as well. I'm hoping that you'll see and hear a lot more about them. And they can produce import quality rice, like you can see on the left, right in your village. So that's why we said this is a great technology for us to integrate with. It produces rural industry. Yeah? And so therefore it's going to add value, and it's also going to create wealth in those communities. So that that wealth can now be used to buy new appliances that are going to consume more electricity, and so on. Next slide, please. And then, of course, mini-grid operators. So we love solar mini-grid operators. We'd love to work with more of you, okay? And one of them, GVE, kindly hosted us with Cool Mill in one of their off-grid locations to look into how we can integrate our systems. But basically, it means that solar carries the electricity during the day. We carry it at night. I'm glad Dave has left the room, because that means they don't need batteries. Don't worry, there'll be other opportunities. We can charge his batteries in other locations. But, what it means then is that, during the day, when we're not having to carry the electricity, we would switch to biofuel production, and that community can now become a net exporter of biofuels and create value from their waste. Okay? So we have a great way of integrating with mini-grids. And therefore, this hybrid mini-grid engineer, I'm still trying to find a way of persuading your World Bank partners that biomass and solar PV are, it's a wedding waiting to happen, yeah? Next slide, please. And of course, we displace expensive diesel gensets. And then this is what I was telling you about with a lot of factories that are using diesel for their burners to raise heat. It's costing them a lot of money, so this is an ideal place for us. Just to put it into image so that you can understand. Next slide, please. So our proposed business model for Nigeria is that we work business to business to provide energy as a service. We're not selling you equipment, we'll sell you the energy either in terms of heat or electricity. Then that means that we would own, operate, maintain each of our installations. We would sign like a 10-year power purchase agreement with the customer. And so that's typically going to be agri-processors, agri-processor hubs or mini-grid operators, and then they can be buying electricity, they can be buying heat or cooling. We then also have off-take contracts. We've signed our first one with a major hydrocarbon reseller who wants kerosene. So bioethanol, biodiesel, the pyrokero is what we've called the kerosene, and Nutrichar is what we call the organic fertilizer. And we're in discussions with carbon credit traders as well for the carbon credits. So all of these things are part of our business model, what make it work so that we can take it to all these different places. And then, of course, one of the things that we want to do is develop local assembly here in Nigeria. So then the UK and Nigeria and Italy, these countries all play a part in our progress. They can fabricate, they've got capabilities that we don't have. So what we can't do, they can do. We can import the components here, we can assemble here, and then, but what we do have here is for each of these installations, we need 12 operators. And we've got a pipeline of 100 ready that we're looking at in one of our projects. That's 1,200 jobs that we're going to create, trained, skilled jobs, technical roles. And I'm looking for lady technical people as well, yeah? So tell the ladies, it's not just men that are technicians and engineers. We were really looking for female teams. So we want to use this as an opportunity to drive gender equality and social inclusion, especially including our youth and our women into these so that they don't miss out on the opportunities that everything this is all going to be creating, okay? And then also, utilizing, as I said, this carbon financing to pay for the build and the installation of this equipment. That's really quite an innovative business model that we don't have to date yet, and I'd like to work with REA in developing that because we're talking to all those people already, and there's a lot that can be used to solve and leverage the financing of all sorts of different projects because it's innovative and it's new. Okay, I think this is the last slide now. Oh, this is how we reckon we're going to grow, and this is the market opportunity just off of cassava. So in cassava, you're looking at, there's an untapped market worth 3.6 billion. Okay, you can't tap that market with solar, unfortunately, or with batteries. You have to do it with something like pyrolysis, okay? So just by, within the next 5 years, when we've installed 100 of our systems, it's going to be creating a lot of wealth just from cassava. And a lot of that wealth, we want to make sure that those communities where that wealth is created, it's retained. And this is really where there's a failure in the oil and gas economy of Nigeria. Much of the wealth that it comes from those communities is exported, not even in this country. It's actually exported out of this country, and then it's sold back to us. Yeah, and but the wealth is kept outside. We need to start creating systems that keep the wealth here. Okay, and that's what we're all about as Pyrogenesis. And I think this is the last slide. Oh. Thank you very much to all our project partners. You know who you are, here you are, and thank you all very much. Last slide is my contact details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. I think that's really interesting, and I mean, for those who might have questions, they might ask. Maybe not now. So let me go through what we have, on the slide very quickly in terms of what makes a very good application. And of course, we can put all the questions together, and we need to leave here. We are doing really bad with time. I'm so sorry, but I hope I'm forgiven this afternoon. Yeah, we're all looking excited, so it shows we're still excited about this. And for those online, we're going to be leaving very soon. All right, so let's go to slide 20. So just looking quickly at what makes a good application. I'll just rush through that. Happy to share some of this information with you via email. All right, so we've always spoken about this in terms of what you need to do first. The first thing you need to do is to form a consortium. So you need to look for partners, and that's what B2Match will do for you. You might look out for some partners locally, but then you need one administrator, from the UK. So we encourage everyone, from the email you've received, please make sure you sign up on B2Match, put up your profile, the best of your profile, and of course, if you have anything you want to show in terms of presentation, like what Simon has done just now, you can actually upload on B2Match. Okay, so looking at how you can select partner, you just need to understand, the eligibility criteria. And like we said earlier, like Dave said, it's not a lot. We are not asking for your genotype and all that, that was funny. But it's very simple. You just need to understand what are the minimum things you need to pull together, and what should you expect, of your partner. And of course, if you're looking at in-country, implementation, you need to know which of the country do you want to implement. Earlier from Amy's presentation, you've seen, all the countries where you can actually do this, but where we are currently, in the sub-Saharan Africa, I think we are all covered, but you need to know which country do you want to implement the project, who is actually interested in working with you in the country where you're working. So like I said, you need to have a UK-based administrator anyway. And of course, what do you need to look out for when you're starting your application? When you're looking for a partner, actually. So the first thing, you need to look at the credibility, the legal entity of the business, both overseas and, of course, if they are able to work locally. And, of course, trading history, previous experience of similar undertaking. You need to look at the capacity to deliver. So looking at the capacities on both ends, on the side of the administrative partner and, of course, on your hand. So it's not just you looking at their capacity. They're also looking at your capacity to know if they would be able to work with you. And of course, the contextual relevance and local adaptability. Okay, so one of the things that you need to ask yourself, is if this actually feels right. Can you see yourself working with these people for months or years? We want you to have a partner that you can actually feel, good working with in terms of delivering your project, because one thing that is going to be interesting is the success of this project, and you need to find someone or organization or partner that you can actually work with, because this could go on and on, for 2-3 years. Like Simon had mentioned, you can actually, you don't have to stop at one round. You could do round 9, you could do round 10, you could do several rounds coming up, depending on the kind of project you're working with. And you want to see someone that you can maintain a very long-term relationship with when you're implementing? And also, can you see your partner working with each other for months or years? Even when things get tricky and there are problems, can you really work together? Do you have the same, objectives? How well do they present themselves? How enthusiastic are they about the project? Does their story ring true? How is their grasp of detail? This is something that you need to do on both ends. And of course, looking at what makes a good application. So you can see all the 8 points we have up here. Alignment to the competition scope. So when we say competition, we mean this funding round. So you need to understand the scope of this funding round. If you have not checked the website, you can actually check that, and I'm happy to also answer some questions if you have. And of course, innovation. Simon mentioned about that. It's not just about applying with one of the things you have existing. It has to be innovative. You need to look at what is that thing. Perhaps it might be existing, but what is the innovation you're bringing into this? So we're speaking about, Dave has spoken about battery. He spoke about, what they are doing. I mean, it might be similar, but what new thing are you actually bringing into this? It could be new technology. It could be anything. Just think about the innovation you're bringing. And of course, a strong business case. So you need to have a strong business case. You need to understand your market and, of course, how you're deploying your solution. And a convincing value proposition, a credible plan for research and development, R&D, the right consortium, like we said earlier, a clear need for support, and the right kind of risk. So those are the things that you need to think about, while you're actually applying. So when you want to write your submission, you need to ask yourself question, what kind of question am I asking? Am I answering actually? Am I answering what I have in my head, what I think I want to answer, or the question that is asked? So the questions are really pretty simple and easy. So we need to understand, what has been asked, and of course, focus on what has been asked and not just what you feel like answering. And of course, remember that assessors are human beings. Tell a story. So when your application is gone, we have assessors that actually look through the applications, and these are human beings as well. We are all, filled with emotions. So you need to take a very compelling story. Don't feel too serious. Just tell a story. What is happening locally? What's the challenge with energy access, and what do we need to do? I will run very quickly. And of course, share your application with someone so that they can also just give you updates. Yeah, so I know, I'll pause very quickly. Okay, yeah. Maybe we can have some picture with the media guys in case they need that. We can do that at the back. So I'll just continue with the slide. Thank you so much, engineer, for joining, and definitely we'll reach out to you. I appreciate it. All right, back to my slide. I will just run very quickly. So how to apply. So you have some of this information on the website, so you can always read through. But you need to go online, know which of the competition you're actually applying for at which stage. Like Amy said earlier, we have the early stage, we have the mid stage, and of course we have the late stage. So you need to know which of the stages you are applying for at that time. And of course, the admin lead needs to create an account. So which means before you apply, you need to have identified who you're forming a consortium with and who the admin lead is going to be. And understanding your project details, so you need to put all that, application details, subsidy basis, equity and diversity, like we said, some of the things you need to consider, project summary, and of course, the public description of your work and the scope of the work that you want to do. And of course, submit your application early, because we have access to looking at these things, and the early you submit your application, the better is it for you. So for assessment, I can actually share this video with us, because we have a video to play on how the assessors actually do their work. But because of our time, I will share the video, the link with you over email, and you can watch what the assessors are actually looking out for, so that you can put in your application in line with what they are looking out for. Yeah, these are some of the things we've spoken about. These are some interesting dates you should know. The competition opens on the 18th May. And of course, the deadline, like I said earlier, is the 10th of August, at 11 BST. That's 11 a.m. So you need to know that. And of course, the successful applicant will be informed on the 21st of October, 2022. So using bid to match, I think this is also pretty clear. Like I've explained this earlier, you need to go on the bid to match. You must have received this. If you click on the link in your email, it will bring you to this site, and you need to sign up. Click sign up, put in your profile, and there are several things you can actually do in the marketplace where you can actually find the relevant partners that you want to work with. So like I said, you need to know how, several things you could do. You could pull up your presentation, your concept notes. You could request for meeting. I mean, a couple of things, these are samples of things you can, do on bid to match. So put some really interesting picture of yourself and other things that you want to be seen online. Yeah, so just running through this very quickly. It's quite intuitive, and of course, I'm sure you can easily understand it. So you can see some of the, some profiles you can request for meeting. You can look for the right partner online. So I think that's actually all from my hand. My clicker stopped working. Okay, yeah, so because of our time, I will stop here, and I think we can take some questions about the application itself. We can put some questions to Simon in the next 5 minutes, and then we can go for lunch and our networking event after then. Simon, would you come back to your seat, please? So if anyone has a question, please let me see your hand. All right, just before we take the questions, for the sake of the media team and the journalists, you might want to have pictures of our speakers. So let's do that very quickly. We'll have the MD come to the front, and then you can just take our speakers and perhaps where's Blanco? Okay, Blanco is coming. Please come, and let's have some participants. If you're able to make it, maybe 10 of us, if you're able to make it very quickly. Gender balance, let's have, yeah, please come. Feel free to join. Just 10. If I don't do this, the journalist will not let me go. So sorry, our participant online. Can we have some women to balance this? Thank you, all journalists and all participants, and thanks, Engineer Ahmed, and thanks for the partnership Ari here. All right, so if you have a loud voice, if you have any question about the application itself, or you have questions that you've been saving for Simon within the next 5 minutes, can you just ask? Can you let me see your hands up, both online and, of course, in person? Question to Simon, and, of course, question about the application. Any questions? Are we all good? We have questions online? Oh, okay, interesting. So for the online participants, I think we can take very quickly. Oh, okay, so let's take from online first, and then we'll come back here. So very quickly online, can we take one question very quickly? Tara, if you're still there.
Yes, Abdullahi, would you like to go ahead? Okay, Adatola, would you like to go ahead?
Okay, so while we wait for that, can we take the in-house question? Yeah, please go ahead. Very quickly.
Okay, thanks for your presentation. I'm Victor by name. I work with the RA. Happy to be here too. So, quick one. I think I have two basic questions. If I remember any, I'll still ask. How many years have you been in Nigeria on this project? And which locations have you been working, and what are the outcomes? I mean, lesson learned from your implementation of this program thus far. Locations like state, which areas, and the impact. Thanks.
Thank you for your questions, Victor. So the first project that we delivered in Nigeria was in Energy Catalyst Round 6, which was in 2019 we started, and it ran up until, I think, 2021 actually, end of November. Yeah. You know, so we've had other Innovate UK funded projects in Nigeria as well. The locations that we've tended to work in, because of like agri-processors that we recognized, Nigeria is the world's largest producer of cassava. So we worked with the cassava agri-processors in Oyo State, yeah, and the lessons that we learned, you know, through those projects and through the partnerships that we developed, is, you know, first and foremost is there is with the biomass, the availability of the biomass and how to mobilize, you know, securing sufficient supply of biomass. It's essential that we have a very good idea of where the biomass is and when it's going to be available. Yeah, so that was why the tools were so important to us that we had to develop, because if we don't have the biomass, we typically need waste that's dry. The drier the better. You can have some waste that's very wet. So, you know, and also which month of the year that waste is available. If it's available in November and December, you can use the sun to dry it. You know, whereas in the rainy season, you're going to have to use some other means of drying. So we learned that when the harvest waste is available is very important. And then, yes, the proximity of that waste to our installation site is very important to make the business case for why one community may be viable for our installation compared to another that, you know, you know, it's just not going to work for those reasons. And then also, of course, within that community, there needs to be sufficient energy demand, but also the opportunity to, you know, have productive use and the opportunity to convert into, you know, value-added products. So those are the kind of things that we've learned by, you know, that this is what's going to make a viable business model in this Nigerian context with our technology. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much. Oh, unless anybody else has.
All right, so let's take the second question, and that will be all for this all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Loyalty Major B, BDM Sea Solar Energy Limited. We are a developer company. So during your presentation, Simon, I was interested in the part you mentioned, solar mini-grids, because we're actually playing in that space. In fact, we have pipeline of projects in some communities in the South-South that we plan to deploy in the next 2 to 3 years. And it will be interesting to see how we can actually switch to using biofuel for nighttime load instead of the expensive batteries and also diesel generators that are not clean. So my quick question is this. You mentioned developing local assembly units or probably plants in Nigeria. Where are we with that? Or where's your company at when it comes to that? Is it something that is operational right now? Can we get this technology in Nigeria, or do we still have to import if we want to switch to using biofuel for nighttime load in our solar mini-grid sites. So that is the question I have for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your very good question there. So I best stand up. Okay, availability in Nigeria of the technology is, again, what Innovate UK is assisting us with bringing the technology to market. So you know there's early stage, mid stage, and late stage. So we're in the process of finalizing the terms for a mid-stage project that would then enable us to build that supply chain to bring the actual machinery to Nigeria and then have set up the local assembly here. So it's not available yet in Nigeria. This is why programs like Energy Catalyst are so essential. I think it's one of the only programs, and I don't know whether Joshua can confirm this, that can finance, foreign partners. Otherwise, because it's UK taxpayers' money, they only, typically use it to fund UK businesses. But with Energy Catalyst, non-UK businesses can be beneficiaries of that grant. So yes, we're in the process of bringing the technology to Nigeria, but we've done a lot of on-the-ground work to identify the market, the right market applications, and the right locations and the right partners to be working with, so that we can develop a value chain. So the project financing has been helping us to develop that value chain. So speaking to people like yourself and meeting companies like yours is essential to us now planning a route to, where are each of these installations, the first installation is going to be. So that's why I'm very happy to meet with mini-grid operators who, like yourself, aspire to incorporate bioenergy with solar, which I think is a really perfect combination going forward, because it will give the communities income from the bioenergy. Because we have to pay people to collect that waste biomass, aggregate it, bring it to us. So that generates an income from them. If they're just buying electricity from you, they then have to use that electricity to make income of some sort if they're going to do it. But this way, they can make income before they're buying anything back. So hopefully that helps you understand the model a bit better. Thank you. Very good question.
All right. I think that should be all for today. We've come to the end of this meeting today. And very quickly, I just want to make an announcement, maybe two announcements very quickly. After this meeting, you can meet with other persons at the back. You'll be directed to where we're going to be having lunch. And we call this, lunch where you can actually network, because like I said at the beginning of this meeting, we want to make sure you are able to form good partnership even from this meeting. So as you're going out, grab the hand of one or two persons, or you can make some new friends over lunch. So I don't know what that will look like, but I think we are actually going to have lunch, within, within the building itself, within the hotel inside here at the restaurant. So you'll be led to where we have that. Secondly, can we have the slide on? Okay, are we back? We're gathered today, and the reason why we need to work more together to have sustainable power. So I just want to make mention of one of the other programs we have, that we're having an information session tomorrow, which is one of our IX, Innovation Exchange. And we currently have a call for solution providers. And if this actually fits into what you do, please feel free to attend the session tomorrow. We will include the link to register in one of the links we're going to share with you via email. But for those who are currently online, the link will be shared in the chat box, so you can actually plan to attend. So we have a flyer as well that we could include, so which provide more information about what kind of solution provider we are looking at, and of course, what the challenge it is itself. So this is actually specifically around agri-food, and I know we have a couple of players from that sector also with us here today. All right, at this point, I will say thank you, everyone. You've been amazing. It's been a very great time having you all in this house. Please feel free to stay back if you want to connect with others. If you have any question, I will still be here, for the next 1 hour. Happy to chat with you. Happy to chat with, if you have some things you want to discuss. And of course, we look forward to coming together like this again. If not for Energy Catalyst, we hope to actually keep even this consortium so we can meet often as a sector and see
how we can explore what are the gaps, the opportunities, within our sector. Thank you, and we look forward to connecting again. Thanks to our partners. Actually, we have REA, we have, I was going to come back and call it to actually say thanks to everyone, but because of our time, it's been really amazing with helping mobilize everyone through NCIC. So thanks to everyone who actually make this happen, and we look forward to connecting. Have a good lunch.